Hello everybody, welcome back. It's Cape Rugby TV. It's nice to have you along. Big thanks before we get going. Big thanks, of course, to our partners on board with us. Score Energy Drinks. We're gonna tell you who last week's winner was. Of course, Spot the Ball competition. Thorburn Security Solutions, your one-stop shop basically for sports solutions, from security to waste management to sports sponsorship. There, in fact, you see the Score logo behind me. And, of course, MChem 24-hour Pharmacy. We're going to talk about them a little bit later. They're, of course, the official pharmacy to the DHL Stormers and DHL Western Province Rugby. Well, it was a massive weekend. And to tell me more about the weekend and look at some of the games, let me introduce you to my panel this evening. Jerome Parvater. Jerome, welcome back.
Yeah, JP, it's good to be back again. And just well done to all the clubs playing in the final. What a great day. What good rugby on the day.
Incredible. Faisal Felton, welcome back.
Good evening, JP. Good evening, listeners. Yeah, Jerome says it's been a fantastic weekend. I think that's what makes club rugby, and yeah, it's always good and great to see the talent and to see the fans, to see the people out there.
Yeah, I know we're going to talk about Super League C, Super League B, Super League A, but everything. And on top of that, of course, it was the first time ever, if I'm right, that the DHL Stormers were playing a curtain raiser to a final.
No, I think definitely there's a first for everything. And like I said, that was, the climax of the year for us. And, having the Super League A, B playing out in Stellenbosch. And like you say, Stormers playing the curtain raiser. So, fantastic rugby. It was awesome. It was great being out there, different scenery, different venue. So, yeah, well done to all the teams.
Yeah, very exciting. So a lot of action this past weekend. We took a look at we are going to look today, folks, the playoff, at least between Kylemore and Macassar. Hands and Hearts were up against Bellar. CPUT was up against Strand, of course, in the Super League C final. Helleberg was up against St. George's in the Super League B final. And, of course, in the Super League A final, it was False Bay up against Durban. Now, assuming you don't know the results and assuming that you were not at the game, you're going to be able to see some of the action here on the show tonight. So make sure that you don't go away, and I've got my experts here going to tell us more about it. But let's start off with the playoffs between Kylemore and Macassar. And Faisal, before we show this footage, of course, important this playoff to determine who's going to play off for the promotion, right?
Yeah, so basically the winners of the games on Saturday, they will play against number 13. So in other words, Super League A you had, which was NNK, and Super League B was Busy Bees. So these teams, whoever wins there, will play either Busy Bees or NNK.
Right, so we had to get those out of the way to know what's coming up next and to see who's going to be where in 2023.
No, definitely. I think, looking at the results and in terms of what happened, you'll see it was a nail biter.
All right, nail biters on the way. Let's take a look now. Super League C, 3rd and 4th place playoff. Kylemore up against Macassar. The following feature is brought to you by Score Energy Drinks, MChem 24-hour Pharmacy, and Thorburn Security Solutions. This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions. So halftime score then, Macassar going 10-0, leading 10-0 against Kylemore Jerome. This is your baby. Macassar looked like they're in charge there in the first half.
Yeah, full of rugby. They kept the ball well through phases. There was a couple of times that Kylemore were bad luck there, as we see. They just lost the ball. They were on their way to go score. But yeah, but good rugby from both sides. I mean, running rugby, and you can see the sort of structure, how they want to play wide, especially Macassar, and get wide again, playing in behind their big forward. So yeah, great first half, I would say.
Faisal, of course, Friday night central location was Jan Burger. Opportunity for all the clubs to come into one place. You had 2 games in a row. Great night for typical good Friday night rugby action.
No, definitely, JP. I think that's one of the successes in it. And you know what Jerome says now, fantastic rugby, and I think that's what it's down to. We're playing up until the last game. And, you know, there's been sort of discussions about, you know, centralized venues. And, you know, for a lot of people, what we don't understand is that when we have centralized venues, is that the challenges come in terms of what needs to be in place. It's not as easy as, you know, people saw us at the gate, we're collecting and stuff and that there. But with it comes your security, your medics, your safety officers, you know, all of those needs that need to be met in terms of, you know, what's required.
Well, I was looking at the field there and I see that there's branding up and all your, I suppose you've got to get all your sponsor stuff up there. Shoving it all into one place. You've got TV in one location as well, because obviously you can't move TV into all sorts of different locations. So much more structured, much more convenient having a central location.
No, definitely. And I think, you know, the last couple of weeks we've had events, it's all been successful. The feedback has been very positive.
Yeah.
And I think the rugby has been awesome. I mean, the results speak for itself. I mean, I wish we could show the results now for the last couple of weeks.
We're going to take a look now.
It's been, JP has been tight and it's been exciting. And, you know, the one thing is that we're building this product, you know, for a sponsor. And ultimately, this is what the sponsors are looking for. Hopefully, you know, soon we can get a sponsor out there that wants to sponsor, that sees, you know, the numbers. The crowd last Friday was fantastic.
We're ticking all the boxes. We've still got a lot of talk about that tonight. Let's take a look now. Second half, Kylemore against Macassar. Then we bring Jerome back into the picture. The following feature is brought to you by Score Energy Drinks, MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, and Thorburn Security Solutions. This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions. Right, well, folks, it doesn't get any closer than that. Jerome, Macassar were leading 10-0 at half-time. Carlamore bounces back to win this game in the dying seconds, 21-19.
Yeah, look. If you look at the first half, as I said, it was pretty even. Carlamore could have scored in the first half, but Macassar kept them out. But well done for coming back. I mean, playing right to the end, and I mean, that's a team that. I mean, that's a final. You never give up. Anything can happen. You play till the last, whatever. And well done to the kicker there. I mean, to slot that kick from the corner. In the evening, like on a Friday evening, that's BMT.
Big match temperament. Faisal, you guys must be happy though. I mean, the progression of Carlamore over the last few years, they've just also stuck to their guns. They seem to have been sticking to a strategy to make sure that they are competitive.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think well-deserved win for them, like Jerome says, playing up until the end and slotting that. I mean, my nerves are on end. You know, the challenge of centralised venue, but also the challenge of load shedding is another factor.
Yeah,
so, I mean, hats off to Carlamore. I mean, any team could have won on the day.
Well, I don't know how you guys are coping with all this load shedding. I really don't know. I mean, it's games, it's electricity, it's just... Folks, before I get into the whole load shedding thing, we'll talk about that on another day. Let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to take a look at the match between Hands and Hearts and Belhar. This was another critical match because, of course, the winner here would play in the playoffs. We'll be back in a sec. Don't go away. Welcome back, everybody. You're watching Cape Rugby TV. We've got a full show for you tonight. Hands and Hearts and Belhar. We're, of course, just took a look at the match between CPUT, at least Macassar and Kylamore. We are, in fact, looking CPUT's Strand, Helderberg and St. George's and False Bay and Durban. This past weekend saw a number of games taking place on the Friday and the Saturday. Faisal Felton's on the show with me. Jerome Parvard is on the show with me. Faisal, you guys as Western Province Rugby are obviously ultimately responsible for the delivery of the games on the weekends, getting clubs to the matches, getting the fans to the matches, and getting the entire season wrapped up. I mean, we touched on this load shedding thing. It must be very difficult for you guys because if you are dealing with things like load shedding, you're dealing with things like, well, historically, water restrictions. Just to get everything spread out, this must have been a lot easier for you, having people at one location. It means that you're able to deploy all your resources into one space.
No, definitely. I think, you know, one of the challenges is having the game and getting the teams out there, but the other challenge is making sure that you have the necessary event permit. Yeah. As you said earlier on, the event permit is not basically, you know, just having the facility. It's making sure that the necessary security, the paramedics, not just a normal first aider. We had to have ambulances, have to have security, and you know, on a given Saturday, looking at the crowd that you have, you've got to have at least 20 security just to make sure that you comply with what the regulation says. You've got to have a safety officer. So from a cost perspective, you know, it makes more sense for us to have that centralized venue because it means ultimately, you know, if clubs are going to host and you've got to meet all these requirements and that, it means that your entry ticket is not going to be affordable. You know, you can never charge 20 Rand.
I was just thinking that from a marketing point of view, you can tell the fans one location. You don't have to send fans for a finals into multiple locations. You can push your branding into one place. You can put your gazebos in one place. You can put your flags in one place. You can put radio stations and TV and newspaper market one location.
No, definitely there's more benefits and positives that outweigh the negatives.
I think, Faisal, it's also if you look at City Park back then, if you look at the clubs, like I say, clubs who's not playing in the finals or in the semis, they all go and support. So how better it is for them to spend the day at one location and watch all the games, and I think that's a no-brainer.
It is the future of sport. I mean, the sport structure, sport is about entertainment. It's about 100%. Getting fans and supporters to a game. And you've got to think about boerewors roles, and you've got to think about all those kind of things.
If I look at a URC game, the Lions playing Ospreys this weekend, and they were excited. There were 3,000 people at the URC game. Yeah. Which we get 6,000 people at club games.
Well, I like also the fact, I like the fact that, you know, you need to get value for money. This is the sport today, is you 100%. Need to get value. Now you've got 2-3 games that you can sit, you can take your family along, you can watch for a longer period of time, and you can come and go as you choose,
100%.
as opposed to it's over and done in 80 minutes, go home.
But I think also, I mean, Jerome will bear testimony. I mean, on a Saturday, you know, I always phone Jerome to where he's going, what club game he's going. Then he gives me this whole routine about the peninsula, driving around the peninsula. He's starting off in Kelsriver, then he's up to Belleville, then he's going to thing. And I think that's what it boils down to. You know, Saturday's club rugby, you don't have to decide which game you're going to watch, which final you're going to watch, where you want to be. You come to one central venue, everything is happening in there. And I think ultimately that's what we're looking for.
Well, I can certainly tell you that from a TV point of view, central venues for us work much easier because we can put cameras, set them up, you can put up your scaffolding, you can set up your lighting and your sound. When you have to go multiple venues and get television at multiple venues, someone's going to lose out.
100%.
And so, folks, but this weekend, though, nobody lost out. We managed to capture it all. Let's take a look now. Hands and Hearts up against Belhar. This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions. This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions. All right, there we go, folks. Hands and Hearts leading 9 points to 7 against Belhar at halftime. Jerome, this is a monster game.
Yeah, it's a typical final, and I think Hands and Hearts were spot on the first half with the 3 penalties that they slotted. You can see they play and they try to keep the ball. If hopefully Belhar will make mistakes, which they did, and they just take the points. And Belhar also, well done for them scoring their try in the first half. So it's pretty even again.
It's as close as it gets. Talking about close, let's take a look at the second half. This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions. This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions. Well, folks, it doesn't get any closer than that. Jerome, 15 all, full time, 15 all. Yeah, close.
Yeah, no, very close. Well done for Belhar coming back, and Henson Hearts also never gave up. I mean, it was Henson Hearts scored, then Belhar scored, and then it comes down to the last kick again.
Yeah.
PMT from the Henson Hearts kicker.
So what are the rules now? Half time. Faisal, what are the rules? What happens? I mean, you were there right to the very last minute. Now what happens?
I don't even talk about that evening, Topi. It was so stressful. I mean, yeah, we're sitting. I can still got it 25 to 10. Looked at my watch, and load shedding starts at 10 o'clock.
No.
And now we're talking about extra time of 10 minutes. 10 minutes. The match was working. I mean, you know,
So
I
what
worked it
happened
out 10 o'clock on the dot. We should be done. It was stressful.
So at a community facility like that, Jan Burger, what happens when load shedding is? Do the stadium lights go off?
Everything goes off.
Everything goes off?
Pitch black, darkness. That's why, as much as, you know, there was challenges on the field, off the field, you had load shedding, you had all this stuff happening, and like I said to you now, is the score's 15 all, and we're stressing. We're sitting there, and it's 25 to 10, and it's 10 minutes aside, 1 minute interval. We had to cut down, and I must commend the clubs in terms of, you know, assisting and helping in understanding. And I think it's something that we just live with, and, you know, we tend to just, you know, understand when it comes to those challenges. So, you know, thanks again to Hands and Hearts and Belhar. We started that extra time at 25 to 10, and 10 minutes aside, basically to determine, you know, the final outcome.
Number one, my hats off go to you guys, because I can imagine the amount of administration behind the scenes just to make that work, and the amount of cooperation that you need. You have to have everybody. Folks, we can get into this again. Let's quickly take a look now. Extra time, Hands and Hearts and Belhar. This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions. This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions. Well, there you go, folks. Congratulations to Belhar winning their 29-20. But Jerome, I mean, at the end of the day, you've got two great teams here putting on some fantastic rugby.
Yeah, and I must say, also with extra time comes fatigue. And
Yeah.
well done, how they manage their squad. You could see at the end there, Belhar and Henson Hearts with all their sort of big numbers, the 19s, the 18s on the back of the jersey, all the reserves on. Well done for managing that, and also you can see, and well done for the conditioning of both teams to play a game like this right to the end. And no one was walking on the field. It was still high tempo game. So well done. And well done to Belhar winning that game.
So Faisal, from a regulations point of view now, Belhar play against NTK and they have to play to make promotion into Super League A.
So yeah, basically there's another spot open for either promotion or relegation, you know, from NTK. So NTK against Belhar, winner there, basically Super League A.
All right, there we go, folks. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to take a look at the first match in the Super League C final, which was, of course, Strand up against CPUT, and a couple of matches still coming up after that, so don't go away. Welcome back, everybody. It's Cape Rugby TV. You're watching us here on Cape Town TV, DSTV channel 263 every Wednesday. Super League C saw the finals happening between Strand and CPUT. This was another big match on the weekend. Jerome, we spoke about this last week. This was going to be a cracker. Strand has been dominating in Super League C all season. CPUT, of course, have been pushing through the ranks. We knew this was going to be a close call and was going to be a big game.
Yeah, look, JP, I mean, Strand, they've basically almost won all their games. And then CPUT did well managing their guys after the Varsity Shield. They had to manage. They had guys have exams. Sometimes they had to cut their training sessions. So well done for them managing that and get to the final.
Let's take a look. CPUT up against Strand in the Super League C final. This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions. This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions. All right, there we go, folks. Strand CPUT, halftime score. Jerome, CPUT leading 12 points to 7. Looks like they're starting to show their...
Yeah, again,
I
like
don't know, is it a
both,
question of timing?
yeah,
Like,
both these teams, like, they dangerous with turnover ball, and we know CPUT, you don't give them the ball. They'll hold the ball, they'll punish you, they'll score. And the same with Strand.
Yeah.
But as we see here in the first half, Strand were dominating a bit up front where they scored a small try, but CPUT, very competitive. Strand, I mean, that first half, again, even 12-7, so...
yeah. Let's take a look now, second half. Full-time score in a second. CPUT up against Strand. They're of course playing at Thunderstel Rugby Fields, which is nice and close to the Stellenbosch Rugby Mighties Rugby Field, where it was the big day. So a great opportunity for everybody to watch the first game and then just drive across and watch the Stormers before they play their Curzon Raiders. But let's take a look now. Full-time CPUT against Strand. This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions. This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions. Right, there we go, folks. Final score then, CPD 26-19. Faisal, this is another Super League C, another title. This is one of those things that you walk away with It's now been 3 years since we had title changes. This is your first. Is this who wins the league? They get the trophy.
They get the trophy. And I think, JP, obviously the result, looking at the result this afternoon and that there, I think, Strand had plenty of opportunity. They should have taken it, plenty of missed opportunities. And I think if you look at the league, that's what I'm going to come back to. I think it was within 2 points. Strand was ahead of CPUT. And again, it shows, anybody on the day, given day, it's a team that wants it more. And, CPUT, Strand, the league was only decided, on the final day. And it's that close. And
but you're starting to polish the trophies already for these teams.
Trophies already polished. It's been polished now for the last 3 years. It's waiting in the closet. I think we've been waiting now to get out on the field. And we're now waiting to hand it over, to the respective winners in that. It's been a fantastic season.
Your thoughts on the game?
No, great game of rugby. If Strand again missed opportunities with their kicker not slotting that penalties or conversions, but well done to CPUT. I think what a great for them from where they were to end up, and it was always like their goal to play in the Super B, and that will help them a lot. I mean, playing in the Varsity Shield, competitive. What better is it to play in the Super B? And to prepare your boys. So heads up to them for climbing the ladder, and they've done it.
Folks, we managed to catch up with CPD head coach Alistair Tyson, of course their captain Siyasango Ngubelanga after the game. This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks and Thorburn Security Solutions.
It was tough because a lot of our players has gone to USA Sevens and half my management is there. But nevertheless, we just said we're going to stick to our guns, stick to our process, do what we've done all season. We gave the boys the tools, what they needed to play today. So it was basically up to them, Yeah, look, I think a lot of the guys got that backflashes of that Varsity Shield final. We in the dying minutes things went a bit sour for us or went wrong for us. But it's been a long year. We've seen this boys sacrifice a lot. They've matured a lot on and off the field, and that you could see come out, especially in the second half when Strand started coming back into the game. And then the boys showed a bit of maturity. Even though we got the 2 yellow cards in that last 5 minutes, the boys hung in there to take it at the end.
Yeah, when you started the year with the whole plan of making sure that the club progresses to the upper level on the league, but we're going to build that from the Varsity Shield team. So we kept the whole squad from the Varsity Shield team, and we called on the other guys who didn't get a chance. And we've seen them growing up from not getting a chance on Varsity Shield and playing first team on the league. And some of our guys are not here playing 7, so we're giving other chances so that we can build for next year. So basically, we use the Varsity Shield and we use Western Province to make sure that we better ourselves and to make sure that we're ready for the league. Yeah, it's been a tough 2 weeks from Makassar because when you're playing against clubs, they play out of heart, they play of the proud of their community, and we're students, like we're only a university, so they're always hungry than us, but they always make sure that they stick to our structure. And this moment that's just happened here, it reminds us of the Varsity Shield on the last moments of 40. So we can't have two disappointments on 1 year, so we had to take this one.
This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks and Thorburn Security Solutions. Folks, for those of you that are not aware, of course, MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy is the official pharmacy to Western Province Rugby and the DHL Stormers. MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy is just down the corner, not far away from the High Performance Centre in Belleville. So all the Stormers players and the Western Province Rugby players, they pop around to MChem on a regular basis. Now, you might, in fact, bump into one of them if you go there to the MChem coffee shop. For those of you that don't know, MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy. It's open 24/7. They've got a coffee shop upstairs. I often go there, have lunch, have coffee. I sit with Mr. Malach. We chat a little bit. And sometimes I rub shoulders with some of the Stormers players who are there maybe filling in their prescriptions or getting one of their other products that they need. MChem is, of course, they've got everything that you need, from the sports nutrition zone to the orthopedic and surgical zone, which I think is, of course, some of the products that the Stormers, in fact, use. They've got a travel clinic. They've got nursing sisters on duty all the time. There's a little nail, hair spa upstairs. So MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, they really have everything they need. And by the way, when you walk in there, there's always somebody there to help you, always somebody available, always somebody friendly. They are always there for you. That's the feeling that you get when you walk into MChem 24-hour pharmacy. And if they don't have what you need, because what we always say is if you want something, go to MChem first. If they don't have it, they'll find it for you. They've got great prices and the products are really good. This is what MChem strives for. They always strive for the gold standard. That's what Mr. Malach calls it. The gold standard at MChem 24-hour pharmacy on the corner of N1 and Durban Road. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll carry on talking club rugby. Back in a sec. Don't go away. Welcome back, everybody. It's Cape Rugby TV. Right, stick around because a little bit later I'm going to give away a case of Score energy drinks to whoever, I'm going to tell you in the show, who entered the Spot the Ball competition. Of course, you can do that on our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/Cape Rugby TV, and you put yourself in the mix weekly to win a case of Score energy drinks. Right, well, you watched Strand up against CPUT, and after that match, everybody moved from Van der Stel rugby football crowd across to the Dani Craven Stadium, where it was the big match. And it was the first time that the DHL Stormers, in fact, played a curtain raiser to the finals. Faisal, we've never seen this before. In the past, you had all your finals at Newlands. One location, Super League C, Super League B, starting early in the morning. Similar scenario here, but we've never had the Stormers. Is it the right thing to say? Play a curtain raiser to a club rugby game?
No, definitely. I think, there's a first for everything. We're trying new things. We're trying to see what fits. But it's also about adapting. I think under circumstances and in terms of, what's been happening, URC undecided with regards to dates and times. And like I said, again, hats off to the clubs, for assisting and helping and being accommodating. And I think that's a great thing that we have in Western Cape and Province, is that our clubs, in terms of how we work together and how we understand each other. Yeah. So, yes, there's a first for everything, and it's to say,
but the exposure, the exposure opportunity for club rugby, because Stormers fans, the Newlands faithful, they would have been watching the DHL Stormers play and then stay to watch club rugby. And maybe in the past, not everybody's watching in the same place at the same time, but there are two Super League games, and so the Stormers fans got a good exposure to club rugby.
No, definitely. I think it gave people a perfect opportunity to stay and watch a club game and see what club rugby is about. And it was a fantastic evening. Again, the rugby was awesome. The teams are great, and hopefully it latches on this week against another 2:00 kickoff. Maybe it's something that we're working towards going forward. It's something that Stormers will be playing curtain raising to club rugby.
I like it. Folks, we're going to come back to Jerome Parvard in a second. He's going to tell us about some of his technical skills between the match Helderberg, St. George's. Let's take a look. First off, this feature was brought to you by MChem 24-hour pharmacy, Score energy drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions. This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions. Here we go, folks. So we have new Super League B champions, Helderberg, beating St. George's 22 points. Well, by almost 22 points. 41 points to 22. That was the margin, Jerome. Well, I suppose Chris Extian, their coach, said it from the beginning. You have to tick all the boxes week in, week out.
Yeah, and I mean, they definitely, this whole season, they definitely tick all their boxes. And I mean, St. George's, as we said, half-time, they came back, scored 14 points in the second half, but then they let Helderberg in every time again. Helderberg scored another, 21 points in the second half. So that was the whole story of the game. But I mean, St. George's didn't give up, and well done again to Helderberg, playing in the Super A next year.
New Super League B champions, Helderberg goes up. They will be competing in Faisal, I made that one. They're Super League B champions, right?
Correct. And also St. George's also playing in Super League A next year. Yep.
So Super League A has got 2 new competitors next year. St. George's go up, and of course Helderberg go up. And we wait to see the third team this coming weekend. Of course, Belhar will be playing against NTK in the playoffs, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. Folks, we managed to catch up with Helderberg head coach Chris Extian, who's been, of course, fantastic this season, as well as their captain, Conway Pretorius. This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions.
Dit was maar moeilik geweest, want ons het maandag die ouens bietjie afgegee. Ons dink ons gaan nie eens die 8ste speel. Maar ja, toe het ons begin oefen Dinsdag en donderdag was load shedding, so toe het ons donderdag hier kom oefen. Dankie sê vir Maties Klap wat vir ons gehelp het dat ons hier kon geoefen het. So dit het vir ons baie goed gehelp ten minste, ja. Nee, definitief, ons sê die eerste 20 minute weer eens belangrik om die platform te kan gee. Maar dis 'n ding wat ons nou moet leer vir volgende jaar. Dat help jy net die eerste 20 minute slack down nie. Ons sal met 'n volley 18 minutes moet gooi. Maar as jy begin 'n 3 druk met die pedaal begin trap en dan laat waai. Dis waar ons 'n bietjie gelek het vandag, dink ek persoonlik. Nee, verseker. As die spelers vertrou het in jou as afrigtersgroep gedeelte en jy het vertrou in die spelers, is 'n wen-wen kombinasie. En as daai ketting kan gehou word, kan net sterker en sterker raak om my kultuur net in die gang te kan hou. Ja, nee, verseker. Dis wat ons hierdie jaar gehelp het. Ons het baie keer player management gedoen om te kyk hoeveel tyd elke ou gespeel het en dan so 'n bietjie geroteer. En ek dink dis wat ons gehelp het om minder beserings te gehad het deur die jaar as verskeie ander klubs vir die hele tyd dieselfde spelers moes kies het. Ja, nee, verseker. So die ouens gaan nou lekker vir 'n maand rus en dan se weer terug in die off-season gedeelte waar ons begin in gym gaan slaan en daai goeie so dis gereed kan wees, meer fisies kan wees vir die Super A gedeelte en dit is waartoe ons gaan werk.
Ons het in die begin van die jaar bymekaar gekom. Ons het sekere doelwitte vir onsself gestel. Eerste was obviously om die A-liga toe te gaan en die tweede was om die beker te wen. En alle krediet aan die manne, ons het dit gebring hierdie jaar. Van die begin van die jaar tot nou was dit van 1 man na 35. Ons het 'n groot groep van 35 van mekaar gemaak. Ons het van ons het 'n groot unit geraak en ek dink dit het ons brotherhood, soos jy sê, het ons deurgetrek. Nou, jy val my eintlik in die rede. Ek wil kom by die coaches. Nee, alle krediet aan hulle het groot effort ingesit. Baie ups and downs gehad, spelers, ander eksterne faktore, load shedding, al die tipe klas van dinge, maar so ek sê krediet aan hulle en soos ek sê, dis nie net 'n eenman sport, dis almal saam. En baie dankie. Nou, we gaan ons oor mindset. Ek het vir die manne gesê, dis 'n derby, dis soos interskole. Die manne kom heeltyd. En dis Super B-liga, ek het al 'n paar plekke gespeel, die moeilikste liga om aan te speel, definitief.
This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions. Right, folks, well, of course, as you know, every week we give somebody an opportunity to win themselves a case of Score Energy Drinks. So you have to go to our Facebook page, you have to spot the ball. Jerome, Faisal, there's a picture on the screen here. You can see it in front of me, behind me there. Your job, as you know, is to tell me in which quadrant, A1, A2, A3, B1, B2, B3, C1, C2, C3, where is the ball? Faisal, you seem to get this right all the time.
I'll go with A3.
You're going to go with A3. Jerome, you're going to go with?
B3.
You're going to go with B3. Right, I'm going to take a wild shot in the dark, and I'm going to, considering it's load shedding, I'm going to go with B2. Right, so Jerome, you went with?
B3.
B3. Faisal, you went with?
A3.
A3. Faisal Felton gets it again. Yes. I don't know how. Every week, Jerome. Every week it's the same story. A3. Faisal gets it again. Congratulations, Enrique Volmoor. Enrique, we'll get hold of you on Facebook Messenger. Congratulations. You walk away with a case of Score energy drinks this week. We'll get that to you. You can come and collect it. Folks, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll take a look at the final in the match between False Bay and Durban. Durban, of course, still the reigning champions from 2019. This was a massive game. Back in a sec. Welcome back, folks. Right, if you've just joined us, then you, of course, know that, well, if you don't know, this past weekend was the Super League A, Super League B, and Super League C finals for the leagues in Western Province Club Rugby. This is what it all came down to. Faisal, this is what you guys worked for from 2019. 2019 was our last, this is now more than, it's 3 years. 3 years since you had the opportunity to bring all the clubs together for this enormous spectacle. We've always seen it at Newlands, Super League A finals, Super League B finals, Super League C finals, starting early in the morning, all the bells and whistles, all the braai fires and the fans, the final interviews, the final matches. I mean, it's been 3 years since we've had this opportunity again. I mean, before we even look at the Durban False Bay game here, this must have been, this is for you one of the highlights of the year.
No, definitely. I think, like you mentioned earlier on, JP, 3 years, and we've waited for this. And I think from our side, just to finish the season, knowing that, you know, our clubs and everybody was out there playing, we managed to get all the teams out, the clubs managed to, you know, make it happen. And I think it's been a fantastic, you know, hopefully, you know, this year we've had clubs where we've played with 2 teams just to build, just to get back again. Yeah. And I think next year we're going to be back in full force. Looking at the numbers, looking at the feedback that we receive, a lot of the clubs are hungry. And again, it showed, you know, this year in terms of the teams and the participation. And I think, you know, False Bay, Durbanville, you know, the history, the rivalry. I think if you look at, you know, the season has been a fantastic season for them. I think it's been a fantastic season for Super League A. You know, looking at how the teams finished and how they ended. And I think, you know, from False Bay side and Durbanville side to participating in Flyers has just been fantastic in that, yeah.
Jerome, I mean, from your perspective, I would imagine it's emotional, actually. Looking at the clubs who you work with day in and day out, from an education point of view, working on the players, working on the coaches, the last 3 years, this is what you actually aim for. You bring clubs, players and coaches through the ranks. And for 3 years you haven't had an opportunity to see them actually, other than normal games, you haven't had an opportunity for them to see them measuring itself and getting to this point that you guys have worked so hard on.
Yeah, I mean, and well done to the clubs. I mean, they, behind the scenes, they had their coaching sessions, they did their training sessions. And what we did, we had a lot of opportunities to work with the club coaches, which we did level 2.5 with the coaches. So we didn't sit back. We actually equipped the coaches, and with the coaches, all the coaches buy in. And that was a time for them also to reflect, and we can give them guidance on how we think at Western Province, how we see the game, and we were talking. So we used that to great effect.
Does it feel to you like this is the big day? When you haven't had an opportunity to do this for 3 years, to have them play in the finals, this is like going to the Olympics. Does it feel to you like this was the big day? It all came down to this?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. We were all happy. The players were happy. The fans were happy. It's like I say. It's almost like they didn't work for nothing. That off time. Yeah. It's like you say. It's like going to the Olympics. You have to build and you have to build. And when the time came, when COVID is done and everything, the guys started and they were a bit rusty. But at the end, you could see it's rugby players again, and they've done the hard work, and that's what we want, to see them on the field and enjoy themselves and express themselves.
Well, folks, this is what it all came down to. It's been, as I said, 3 years since the big day. It's been 3 difficult years for club rugby, but clubs have slogged through to get through these times, from water restrictions through to, of course, the pandemic, and finally the big day where we're able to start off with literally a new canvas as we now head towards 2023, with a new title holder? Well, we'll have to see after the highlights. Let's take a look. First half, Valsberg against Durbel. This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions. This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions. Right, folks, halftime then, of course, Super League A. Jerome, these are two big teams going head-to-head here. Valsberg, Durbel.
Yeah, but just look at the set pieces. I mean, it's two big packs. But Valsberg got an upper hand in the scrums there. Durbel were good in the line-out, so it pretty much evened each other up. But they were not afraid to play the ball also. I mean, that's why the score was so close at halftime.
Yeah, I mean, Faisal, if we look at these two teams here, these are two, I would say, two of the best clubs in the world. I mean, you've got the absolute spectacle here of guys that are playing at the highest level. I mean, we talk club rugby, but the reality is that Valsberg, Durbel, they can compete at a national level. They can compete against at an international level. These are your best rugby players you got.
Oh, definitely. And I think, I don't want to say it, but, if you look at the two finalists, Valsberg, Durbel, and then you look at, we had our varsity teams, our UCTs, our Marties, UWCs and stuff. And it's good to see how the club rugby and how the club rugby in the Western Cape and, the strength of it. And like you mentioned, I think, the varsities had the fortunate opportunity where they've been playing last year. They had a bit of rugby in that there. So for Valsberg and Durbel and to come through and be, the finalists in that is fantastic. It just shows the strength of club rugby and, the talent that we have.
Well, we still don't know who the winners are. We'll only know after taking a look at the second half. Let's see. This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions. This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions. Well, folks, there you have it. Super League A has got new champions. Durban have been the reigning champions for the last 3 years. They've been the Super League A champions. False Bay are now your official Western Province Club Rugby Super League A title holders, at least for the next year. Jerome, well deserved.
Yeah, well deserved, and also well done to Durban. I mean, with Warren Peterson and Jason Hector coaching there at Durban. And I know it was challenging for them also because they had a few injuries, but well done for them playing in the final. And also, I mean, for False Bay, a few weeks ago on the show, Jono van der Walt said he's finishing off. I don't know how true that is, but that would be a sweet victory for him also.
Faisal, what comes to mind for me here is about probably, I don't know, maybe 7 years ago, I went to go and give a little speech at a False Bay rugby occasion, and they were currently, at the time, they were playing in Super League B, and obviously a little bit demotivated at the time, but I explained to them that rugby evolves and times change, and the club will always exist. I mean, this is your fairy tale story of a club that got relegated and bounced back by putting in good systems and structures and keeping their members occupied, bringing their volunteers to the game, bringing fans to the club, growing their circles of or this is the picture I'm getting. I don't know if you can agree with me, but this is your fairy tale story of a club that was down and out not so long ago and rises to the top to become the champions.
No, definitely. I think, Japes, you know, when I was playing as well, we played against them in Super League B. You know, they had their ups and downs. And I think, again, it boils down to, you know, I've always been asked this question about people looking at the format and saying, listen, we need to look at the format. You know, we need to look at the competition. And I keep on saying, guys, changing a format is not going to change anything. It's about the club. It's about the club wanting the change. It's about the club that wants it more. And again, like you mentioned, you know, it could be easy saying we're going to adjust the league competition to accommodate False Bay so that they're playing in the top. It's about them working and wanting it and striving, you know, to win this league. And like you said, it didn't happen overnight. It's been coming for some time. You had Durbanville, you had Marties, you had all these teams, Hamiltons and that, and now False Bay again have come to the forefront. And I think it boils down to, again, in terms of a club, like you mentioned, in terms of not just on the field, but off the field, building, you know, that support structures.
But they've built their women's structures, they've worked on the youth structures, they support community during COVID. Everything adds up.
If you look at False Bay as well, look at the amount of teams that they had. They're not just your first, second, third, under 20s. They've gone out, so they've got the fourth, they've got the fifth, they've had the old crocs, you know, that have been playing there the weekend. It's about a community. And I think ultimately, you know, that's what we're looking at from all the club perspectives, that, you know, any team can play in Super League A. It's about you working towards getting there. And I mean, Jerome will be a testimony. I think we're fortunate with the amount of talent that we have. But it's not just having the base that's going to get you to Super League A. It's about having to look at where you need to improve. What do you need to do? You know, chatting to some of the clubs when it comes to, you know, just the basics, video analysis and, you know, all those basic things. It's about understanding how you're going to get the upper edge over the next club. And I think that's what we want. We want to be tested. We want to make sure Super League A is not one-sided like it was in the past. We've got a variety of clubs that on any given day can win it. Super League B, Super League C as well.
Well, folks, none of this happens without having somebody leading from the front, and Coach Jono van der Walt has done just that for the last 3 years. He has stayed active. He's done everything in his power to keep his members and his players engaged, from having social competitions online to coming into the studio, as well as doing interviews with us. And the minute that he could keep his players training, he did just that. We spoke to False Bay head coach Jono van der Walt after the game. This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions.
We gave the guys Monday off, and then by Tuesday we had known, so we also had to deal with load shedding, which is beautiful. But we managed to get two very good sessions in, and again, you know, most of the hard work could be done throughout the year, so just making sure that everyone was mentally and physically prepared. And obviously we knew that Durban would come out very hard tonight, and we're just very lucky that we managed to get one over the line. Yes, I think in the COVID times when a lot of clubs closed their doors, we were very hell bent on maybe keeping guys fit and healthy, and we trained outside, we trained in the road, we just kept ourselves busy and fit, hoping that rugby would return at some point in time, and then we had an internal 10s competition, which was actually last year October, and we actually haven't stopped since then, so we've carried on going. So you could say maybe it was a little bit too long because we haven't been going for about 13 months, but we do time things and pace things a little bit. So again, the end goal wasn't actually always to win a league. It's we obviously train and we want to basically win every single game that we play. So we don't look in the beginning of the year and say we want to make a playoff, we want to make a final. We just prepare for every single game, and then we see how it goes after 80 minutes. Yes, so this year in the Super League we've used 52 players, which is quite a lot, especially over the games home and away. So you must always rotate some of the guys, but at the same time, in saying that, every single game is tough in the Super League, so you can't just rest and rotate. You have to be up for every single game. It is a 9-month grind. It is not, and you can be very good in April, but you have to be exceptional in October. So again, we always talk about just keeping sticking to the process. Make sure you come in, make sure you're fit and healthy, and then hopefully sometimes it comes off for you. Yeah, well, that's it, and sometimes even extra. We picked up 2 injuries very early on in the game, which was very concerning for us, and then it became a bit of a battle of the boots, and that's not really where you want to be in a final, but I suppose it goes like that, and we were just very, very lucky at the end to run away with a few tries.
Yeah, like you said, it's been quite testing. It has been a long season, but yeah, it's so nice to be standing here at the end of it and obviously have the trophy with us. There's a lot of sacrifices that a lot of individuals had to make, families had to make, girlfriends, partners. Yeah, it's not easy to win this league. There's a lot of sacrifices that are made. Yeah, one thing that VD and Slab and the coaching staff has been really good at is that we've had a core group of players that has been together for the past 3-4 years, and everything that we've done, we've worked around that core group of players, and we've just kept building. And as long as those core group of players are consistent and we start roping in 1 or 2 more guys to be as consistent, your core starts to grow. And I think that's what we found here tonight, is that the core group of players stood up and actually got us over the line. Yeah, look, I've never played international rugby or provincial rugby, Currie Cup, but you would think that would be the intensity that would be played at. I'd like to make special mention to Evan Adams, our 10, who was superb tonight with his kicking boot. Also Tarek Allen, machine at scrum time, and then other individuals like Andre van Vuren, who's been putting his body on the line for the Bay for years and years and years. And I could stand here the whole evening and give you a list and congratulate everyone that contributed, but again, it's been a massive squad effort. We've used 50 players this entire season. Every one of those individuals played a part in us lifting this trophy. Yeah, just a massive thank you to all the players that sacrificed a lot with their better halves, wives. Now's the time to make up for all the lost time during the season. To the wives and partners, thank you for being patient and understanding and always coming down to games, whether it was raining, miserable, hostile crowds. You guys still came down, supported us. We really appreciate it. Yeah, until next time, I guess.
This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions. Well, as Thabo said there, lots of time, sacrifice, Jerome, that's what it comes down to. You got to put in the time, you got to put in the hard yards, you got to make the commitments. False Bay did just that.
Yeah, which they did, and again, well done to both the clubs. I mean, it was tough times. It was there was load shedding during the week, which they had to adjust, which the players did well. They had to change their times, and yeah, well done. It's not easy, JP. It's really what the clubs were doing, what the coaches were doing, what the players were doing. It is out of this world.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And I mean, Faisal, the same hats off can be taken to Durban. Durban have also, over the years, consistently stuck to building their club. They've built their supporters club. They keep the club open. They bring their local business to the club. I mean, both of these clubs have really got their model in place through volunteers that are working hard every day.
No, definitely. I mean, I just now listening now to, Jerome having the chat and that, and I'm looking at the challenges that we face, as administrators on a Friday and Saturday trying to get the games going, but, forgetting the challenges that the clubs are facing with regards to numbers, with regards to load shedding, with regards to finances and that there. So, all the clubs out there, I mean, yes, we've got Falsburg, we've got Durban, they've been very successful in that. And I must, from my side, it'd be wrong of me not to also say well done to all the clubs.
Yeah.
And with all those challenges, looking at the guys coming out there and playing on the Saturday and that, it's not as easy. I always said, when we look at the Stormers coming out on the Saturday, we forget about behind the scenes. But when you look at clubs on the Saturday, we also forget about behind the scenes, what the guys go into, the administrators, to make it happen. So for Durbanville, and I think, for False Bay, the cherry on top, I mean, for Jono, I've been, chatting to him a lot, this season, and a lot of the coaches, a lot of the administrators as well. Well done, hats off to them. It's a season that they can be happy and proud of, and to get through this difficult time, it's been fantastic.
Folks, of course, we managed to catch up with the Western Province Rugby General Manager, Mr. Danny Jones, not here with us in studio today, but we got him on the side of the field on the big day. This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions.
No, definitely. Post-COVID, we needed to have clubs came back to play rugby, and we thought they'll be struggling, but the quality and quantity of rugby that has been played, we're very blessed. The clubs has really come to the party, and today culminated in the Super League C, Super League A and B finals, and I want to congratulate all the clubs for playing in the competition, but better, those clubs who won on the day. It was great to see CPUT, Helderberg and Falls Bay winning the top honours. So yeah. And where do you see in the world that the professional team plays a curtain raiser to the amateur team? So yeah, it's been a good day. We're blessed to be here, and it was a great day for Western Province. No, for sure. I have a good, hard-working staff. They're passionate. They do everything for rugby, and sorry. So yes, it was a great season with good work both from clubs and my staff. And as I said, it was a long day today, but at the end, we're happy to have chosen the right venues. Last night at NTK, we had two great games: Macassar versus Kaimo. Kaimo came to beat them in the end, and we had Ballard against Hands and Hearts. It was Friday night live, and Friday night with good lights. And yeah, tonight was obviously the cherry on the top. Where do you see club rugby playing at such a beautiful stadium? And as I said, and the Stormers playing a curtain raiser to them. So yeah, we're quite chuffed.
This feature was brought to you by MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy, Score Energy Drinks, and Thorburn Security Solutions. Well, there we go, folks. So Western Province Rugby General Manager, Mr. Danny Jones, just emphasising the fact that it was such an exciting occasion with Friday night lights, Saturday the big day, and now we have new champions. So yeah, congratulations to Western Province Rugby on a fantastic occasion. We're looking forward to more this season. Faisal, let's wrap it up now. This coming weekend, though, there's a couple of big games.
Couple of big games, couple of challenges. The load shedding again is not helping out. We want to finish the season on high. We've got there's the 3 and 4, the semi-finalists, the winners, they're playing against number 13. And then you've got the promotion league, 3 and 4 the following week that's playing out. I just hope, we can have the rugby this past weekend, we can just build from there. I think, Danny's mentioned earlier the fantastic facility you got in Stellenbosch. I just wish that a lot of our clubs, we don't have to worry when it comes to facilities. And I think that's one thing that we're going to strive for next year, 2023. As much as we're looking at, Jerome looks at on the field, I think our focus, from the office, from the union side, needs to be off the field as well. When we look at the facilities, we look at where we're wanting to play, the centralized venues. we need to make sure that we have proper facilities in place. And I think that's the engagement that we're going to start having with the city. When it comes to the requirements, when it comes to the event permits that needs to be in place, the city facilities also need to be compliant. So that's a discussion that I think, you know, we're going to have in the new year, is that when it comes to facilities, from a club perspective, we need to look at how we can improve. As getting the people there is great, but the facilities is, you know, something on the top that we need to look at as well going forward.
Faisal, thanks for joining us. We'll catch you again next week.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to it, JP.
Jerome, it comes down to the wire this week for some of the teams who are going to be looking to get into Super League A, Super League B. As an example, Belan and NTK. This is going to be a big game.
Yeah, I've spoken to a few people, which I believe that NNK behind the scenes were working hard. So we expect another great game there, and we're fortunate. I mean, there's still rugby Saturday, JP.
Yeah, and there's a lot of rugby still this whole year, folks. We're going to be busy all year. It's still sevens coming up. No, we're not going anywhere. It's a long way to go. The other match, of course, Carlamore up against Busy Bees.
Yeah, that's also going to be a cracker.
Yeah. Right, folks, we're going to leave it at that. We'll say to you, join us for more rugby next week, same time, same place. Have a fantastic rugby weekend. Bye-bye.